pedagogy for urgent times. Gholdy placed love at the center of her method for teaching students, and you will, in turn, love this book and its message that meaning-making of children's stories is the way to humanize ourselves, which must happen before we enter the classroom. Gholdy has written the new blueprint for how we teach responsive literacy. The Black literary societies of the 1800s, of which she so eloquently writes, would be proud. She has picked up the legacy and is running toward freedom. We in education need to follow and run with her. Bettina L. Love is an associate professor of educational theory and practice at the University of Georgia. She is the author of We Want to Do More Than Survive: Abolitionist Teaching and the Pursuit of Educational Freedom. Introduction. Restoring Equity and Excellence in Today's Classrooms. I conceive our literary institutions to have the power of doing. It seems to me, then, that the main object is to accomplish an intellectual and moral reformation, and I know of but few better ways to effect this than by reading, by examining, by close comparisons and thorough investigations, by exercising the great faculty of thinking. For if a man can be brought to think, he soon discovers that his highest enjoyment consists in the improvement of the mind. It is this that will give him rich ideas and teach him also that his limbs were never made to wear the chains of servitude. He will see, too, that equal rights were intended to all. Then who would not wish to become inspired with the taste of reading, if it has the ability to create so happy a state of things as I have just described? James Forten, in an address delivered before the American Moral Reform Society, August 17, 1837. Throughout the 1800s, a central objective among Black people was to improve and elevate their lives through literary means. One of the ways in which they set out to counter the conditions they endured during a time of racism and oppression was through reading, writing, and engaging with literary texts. As part of a broader struggle to counter multiple attacks of oppression with violence, they used their minds and pens as weapons to battle injustice. Books and other forms of texts became ammunition to fuel their progress. They worked toward cultivating the minds and hearts within themselves and among others, which led them to be equipped to face and alter the nation's harshest realities. Literacy was no longer just a set of skills to possess, but the instruments used to define their lives and the tools to advocate for their rights. To this end, Black people developed literary societies or literary institutions, which were essentially collaborative teaching and learning spaces to construct knowledge and engage one another toward cultivating a literary culture. This cultivation of literacy and the genius inside these societies perhaps is best exemplified by an excerpt from an 1837 public speech delivered by James Forten. Forten, a leading thinker, businessman, and social activist, spoke of literary societies in this address. Literary societies were organized reading and writing groups for developing literacy skills, but they also helped members to read, write, and think in ways that would help foster a better humanity for all. These groups were organized as early as 1828 in cities within the Northeast region of the United States. These societies existed in major cities such as Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. Black people created their own spaces because they were not invited or allowed to speak or participate in white-run literary organizations. Soon after 1828, other societies spread across the geographic area and developed in such cities as Pittsburgh, Hartford, Washington, D.C., Rochester, and Baltimore. They met regularly in person to discuss literature and to debate. They also communicated with each other.